Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. The topic on today's session is the digital strategy for the blue economy. My name is Miguel Fernandes. I hope you can see me well and hear me even better. Just a brief introduction on my side. I'm a consulting partner at PwC Portugal, more than 18 years in consulting business, mainly in coordinating complex projects, digital transformation initiatives, IT strategy, customer experience, you name it. All the relevant topics around digital. I've been privileged to be involved in some of the big challenges in the market, so I'm glad to be here today and share some thoughts, some insights. This is a big challenge because to talk about almost a huge topic in 1 hour is very complicated, but I will try to give you some hints, some clues, some highlights, and hopefully you get some takeaways to further develop your own thoughts and vision on this topic. This is the agenda for today, so I'll give you all an introduction on the topic around digital strategy and why it is relevant for the blue economy. Then we'll cover some digital strategy checklist points, which I believe are important for your daily activities within the companies. And then we should pass on to the market overview on the blue economy and the amazing opportunities that arise and are already being taken care of by some of you guys. For initial thoughts, what I would like to say is there isn't such a thing as a digital strategy by its own. So you have to have a digital vision, a digital strategy, but it has to be aligned at all times with the strategy of your own business, of your own company. So whenever we are talking about implementing digitalization, implementing initiatives that will transform your company or your business model or even the whole sector, we need to make sure that we are always aligned with what is the company's objectives, what are the main purpose for growing, what is the culture of our company that will act on the digital world. So we can all talk about opportunities, business models, the disruption of entire value chains, but we need to make it precise for each company. There isn't a recipe that can be extended to every company. Each company needs to think about this and needs to choose what is a clear strategy and how to embrace such changes that the digital world puts in every company, in every sector, in every business. So, starting over on why digital strategies matter, clearly, the scope and scale of the digital requires significant resources. These resources are different than all the resources that so far have been challenged to be mobilized in the organizations. And there is kind of a paradox because everybody says that digital transformation is important. The CEOs of most modern enterprises in the blue economy sectors, they see the technology as an integrated piece of their business strategy, but sometimes they lack in the readiness to handle such changes. So we all agree that we need to change. We all agree that we need to take sustainable steps in the digital world, but then sometimes we don't comply. We lack in readiness to handle changes. So, but this is a very fast movement, a very fast changing world, and the ones that lag behind will struggle the most. So one of my first initial messages to this community of the blue economy sectors is definitely there's a big opportunity at our hands. There is sustainability is one of the top of mind topics nowadays. Climate change, circular economy, sustainable goals, competitiveness, all these topics are clearly a priority. So we need to put ourselves in a position of seeing digital technologies as an enabler, as a way of transforming these sectors, transforming the business models, and getting ready to disrupt and not to be disrupted. In terms of the digital strategy, it isn't a piece of paper or something that it can be done in 1 or 2 months and then it's done. Digital strategy requires a permanent collaboration, commitment, and strategy. The digital strategy of a company isn't property of a department, it isn't property of the IT, it isn't property of the commercial department. It has to be handled as an integrated approach, as a part of commitment from all the departments within the company. And two top concerns must be handled in terms of digital leadership. Digital projects have to hand over growth of revenue and profits. It doesn't make sense to invest in digital just by investing in digital. It has to be translated into growth of revenues, growth of profits. And on the other hand, all this movement of growth has to be clearly justified by customer and employee experience. All that is done in the digital world is about experience, is about giving better, faster, cleaner experience to our customers, answering to their demands. Their demands are getting more and more exquisite, and we need to understand our clients and our customer base. But we also need to make sure that our employees also have such experience. In every touch point of a customer, there is always an employee, and we have to make sure that the employee experience is aligned with the customer experience. It's not only about thinking about the external part of the business, the way to interact with the customers, with the clients. In order to do so, we have to also invest, train, give more capabilities to the employee experience also. But all this digital movement has to be addressed in terms of it is an opportunity, but it has to be properly addressed. Cyber strategy is a key component in the digital strategy. It's important to integrate cybersecurity within the digital structure. It is important to understand that cybersecurity is no longer an IT issue. It has to be a culture, a cybersecurity culture that touches business operations, production, sales, logistics, whatever, because we are talking about using digital technologies, using new ways, new products, new services enabled by technology, and in all this, cyber has to be a significant part of our movement in terms of the digital world. Clearly, a smart approach would be to consider an early incorporation of cybersecurity policies and measures. Normally, when we work a lot in MVPs and prototypes and POCs, and all these topics are already almost in production, almost ready to serve our clients and our partners, then somebody in a meeting raises a hand and says, what about cybersecurity? Is this secure? How have we managed to protect and make sure that is cyber secure, privacy compliance, etc. And that shouldn't be the case. It should be in the early stages a part of the development of the new POCs, the new projects, the new services. And a good way to do this in terms of culture is giving cyber security awareness, empowering security professionals, but also in a transversal way in terms of the community within the company to make sure that we need to reduce future costs and avoid embarking on costly mistakes that unfortunately they will happen. Every company is subject to an attack, to a vulnerability, and we need to make sure that we know about our risks, we know about our vulnerabilities, and we are ready to handle when they happen. It's not a matter of if it is going to happen, it's a matter of when. And so, reinforcing a little bit, cyber attacks are more frequent and more sophisticated than on average people are aware of, and have huge consequences for companies, both in terms of financial but also reputational. We are talking in this community of the blue economy with some startups, and it's not only a matter of having the best solution, the best product, the best customer experience. If you don't have the cybersecurity matter handled, you may suffer some reputational consequence, and it can jeopardize the whole success in terms of the solution that you had. So this is a matter of putting technologies as an asset that has to be managed in terms of risk. Data is everybody says this phrase, but this sentence, data is the new gold, and of course hackers tend to go after consumer personal information and preferences, and clearly there has to be developed an integrated approach to cybersecurity in a continuous process. Like the digital strategy that I was mentioning minutes ago, the cyber security is not something that we invest in a year or in one project and you leave it alone. It has to be a continuous process of monitoring, reviewing the plans, the procedures, and making sure that you have all the contingencies in quick response for when things may happen. Okay. Besides digital strategy and cybersecurity, I would like to raise now a topic around why companies struggle with their digital strategies. If everybody agrees in what I have explained so far, then why digital strategy fail sometimes? What are the key behaviors of companies that fall behind in the digital world? And this is, of course, an ongoing lessons learned, but sometimes we definitely see the majority of CEOs that are close to these digital failures tend to see change management as something that belongs to IT or specific business model issue, and they don't see it as a cultural issue. So this is a major twist in the way that we should perceive digital strategy. Normally, there is lack of focus in implementing emerging technologies. We see this in the market a lot in big companies and in small countries. We prototype a lot. We do lots of POCs. We do POCs in blockchain, in IoT, and in augmented reality, in virtual reality. But how do all these combine? We are lacking the focus in using the new technology, the emerging technologies, to drive value to the company. Sometimes we see companies that are dependent on ad hoc teams and outsourcing teams. Innovation, definitely in these cases, is not proactively explored. It's some sort of requirement to do a project in the companies that failed, and innovation is a key element in the digital transformation. We need to get digital management tools every day in our companies. We need to put our people responding to challenges and thinking about future ways of doing the same things, thinking about new ways of doing additional things that no one has ever thought in our business model. And this is the key challenge. Innovation is a proactive way of growing and not a reactive way of growing. In terms of senior executives, they sometimes keep themselves in silos. They don't align in terms of putting together an agile organization, an agile framework of transforming the company. And definitely the final point that I have here is the gap in people and digital skills. We are asking our people to do different things that they were used to doing. This puts themselves in a discomfort zone and way out of the box. So we need to train people, we need to get them closer to these new concepts, the new technologies. We need to explain, we need to involve functional people with technical people. We need to have business people together with experience oriented people, with technological people. All this have to be the basis of putting together teams, digital teams that will handle top level commitments and will require top level commitment. Okay? This is a complex slide, but it gives you all the perspective that I want to pass as a message. In every company, in every one of your companies, there are all these layers present. They may be more complex or less complex, they may be more integrated or less integrated, but all of you have a layer around customer solutions, also known as the business model and customer value layer. So you have these around infrastructure, architecture, e-commerce, third-party platforms, you name it. You also have a layer around operations, which has a solution enablement and value chain efficiency layer. And here we are talking about product development, planning, sourcing, manufacturing, logistics, etc. We also have the two bottom line layers, which are definitely important, the technology ecosystem and the people ecosystem. And we no longer live in a time where the technology ecosystem is managed only by the IT department. It includes IT architecture, it includes interfaces, digital technology drivers, because when a company wants to embrace artificial intelligence or wants to embrace robotics or wants to embrace augmented reality, it will enter a phase of experimenting, doing proofs of concept, and we can no longer wait for the IT to give all the conditions to do so. So clearly the technology ecosystem is a relevant topic, and also the people ecosystem. It's about skills, it's about resourcing, it's about the proper and accurate mindset to participate in a digital transformation. So moving forward, we now are in a phase where we have external trends and internal needs that need to be addressed. If we look at the external trends, what do we see? We see customers, highly demanding customers that are growing in terms of digital expectations. Every one of us is so familiar with the digital tools, with the digital apps, with the digital experiences that we want in every moment, in every second, in every product, in every service that we contract or we want to buy. We need to have top level choices, experience, ability to choose, and we want to be always treated like we are a unique individual. So we always want to be in context. We want to be addressed as myself as Miguel Fernandes that likes this and doesn't like the other stuff. Miguel Fernandes that has bought this in the past and probably will buy this in the near future. So this is a matter of knowing your customers, understanding their trends, their needs, but putting them always in context. It's not the basis of customers anymore. It's the basis of niche clusters of customers that we need to grow and to know better and better every day. But we also have a big movement around competition. If we don't do anything in the digital world, our competition is doing so, and the competition arises from every sector. This is not only about a specific economic sector. We may have companies like Google or Apple selling topics. We may have banks talking with us about health and about the quality of life. So all this digital world erases the borders between the sectors, and we as a customer, we may be kind of challenged whatever the sector is. It's also a matter of big legislative change, lots of new rules and regulation to try to define better the borders and the regulation around the digital topics, whether it's electronic commerce or GDPR topics, but everybody needs to be compliant in terms of privacy, in terms of digital use, in terms of cybersecurity, and also technology, because the new digital technologies are changing and getting more integrated every day. So it's not only about big data. Big data is connected to robotics, it's connected to artificial intelligence, it's connected to smart cities, it's connected. So everything is connected. So we need to make sure that there's a huge opportunity for personalization because everything is connected. And in terms of within the company, in terms of the key topics that we need to address for these digital capabilities, definitely we need to understand that this world enables growth and scale. We can do it, a new product at a local level, at a specific business related level, and then it can be exported, it can be scalable to other sectors, other businesses, other countries. So definitely the scale rises a huge opportunity. And it's also a matter of experience and engagement, like we have been talking about. It's about showing that people can choose across their life stages in a very simple, personalized way. It's always about personalization and simplification. And of course, the data and analytics topic is a crucial one. We struggled many years and decades about getting better, more precise information, and we need to wait. We asked for information and we waited. Now it's a matter of monitoring, addressing, touching the information, reaching the information very fast, self-service business intelligence tools, predictive analytics, gets us in a more advanced manner, but it also gets in a very fast way of reaching information. We no longer wait for information. Information is available, and we support our decisions better today than before. Clearly, all the potential that arises from streamlining processes and automation is a huge factor. The opportunities of going to the back office functions, like the finance function or the HR function or the procurement function, and making sure that all the repetitive tasks, all the complex processes need to be streamlined and robotized. It's a huge enabler of efficiency. Clearly, in terms of making all this possible, clearly the staff empowerment is important. To have full control of the digital channels, we live in an omni-channel world, So all the channels have to be managed, and people have to be responsible for managing and for gathering and crossing information. Knowledge management is essential, but on the basis of that and to leverage all this, talent development is a crucial part. I will take you now in a couple of slides around the 5 digital models that we normally see regarding the digital world. Uh, Probably they are too complex to digest in a simple explanation, but I will most of all try to guide you all to these tables and to let you know the main topics around each of the 5 digital models. Clearly, we have companies that act like a digital brander. So they try to understand customer needs and they try to deliver a value proposition. But we also have companies and that position themselves in terms of experience designer. Clearly, loyalty, design, offer, and experience, understand customer needs, trying to wow the customers at multiple touch points. Or we can have companies that are kind of called distribution optimizers, which means in a very simple way that they have digital focus on sales efficiency and share of wallet. They try to reach as many people and as many companies as they can. But we also can have pure product innovators. They don't yet think about digital branded or experience. They are focused on differentiating through product innovation. Or we may have companies that are cost optimizer, as simple as that. Companies that support low price points that gives you a good enough experience for the price that you are willing to pay. So all this in context, of course, when we look globally, we can see that many companies have decided to position themselves in a different way. If we look at Coca-Cola as an evident example for everybody, they always try to build brand equity to drive net new acquisition and loyalty through multiple experience with the brand. So they are thinking about the brand. But if we look at the second line, the experience designer, we are talking about companies that are much more in data and insights to enrich the experience, to drive retention, personalization offers. And if we look further down in terms of distribution optimizers, we see much more about channel effectiveness. We see cross-sell, we see personalized campaign, next best offers as a means to operate in the digital world. If we look at product innovators, pure product innovators, we see that they hope to gain customers with having a huge pipeline of innovation to develop new source of revenue. And they will continue to grow because they will continue to have new products in a sophisticated, innovative way. And then finally, if we look at cost optimizers, we see process automation behind all those business models. We see a very high volume to high cost to low cost digital channels. So we see mass market potential with low cost digital channels. And all these, my main comment is that you don't establish yourself as one of these and you stay there. You need to keep evolving. You may decide where is your entrance point, but you may and probably will need to evolve your model and the way the options and pathways that you need to take care. You may start with an experienced designer. Of course, it will give you differentiation and opportunity to leap ahead of rivals. But you may then change to a cost optimizer or a distribution optimizer. Always about understanding your business model, understanding your competitors, and the options that you drive ahead. Examples of transitioning pathways across digital channels are some of these. You see Virgin as in terms of origin, we all know that it started from the airlines. with bulks of sales done through travel agencies. But now, clearly, in the last years, they have transformed themselves into being a distribution optimizer. Clearly, in trying to make focusing on driving sales to websites. Virgin America was actually the first airline to use Groupon for inaugural flight sales. And now they use digital to build comprehensive customer experience, mobile check-in. So they have worked in every touch point that people can have when traveling. Use of social media, onboard Wi-Fi, personalized on-flight entertainment, and they are now assumedly an experienced designer. This is a very good example of the way you can act across digital models. Another example in terms of, I would say, Alpha Bank. Alpha Bank started as Russia's largest privately owned bank, one of the first in Russia to introduce countrywide banking platform. Then they started, in terms of distribution, reaching high volumes of people and demand. So they launched a national banking platform, which helped improve the distribution. And then they started working on product-focused website, emails, SMS campaigns, etc. But if we go back just to 2015, they were actually, meanwhile, they redesigned the digital customer experience, focusing on simplicity, personalization, decision-making support. So and this is not only Alpha Bank, probably most of the banks that you work now, you get this feeling, they are always capable of giving you decision-making support in content. So they know when you have more money or when you have less money, and what you need when you have more money, probably need to invest, need to diversify, and you have less money, you need some sort of credit or something like that. So this outcome-centric presentation of products is clearly a big trend in banking and in other companies, but a good example of experienced designer digital model. So this was kind of giving you, again, high-level content, but I believe I already touched some big points and takeaways that you may take for your own businesses and ecosystems. Now I would reach the blue economy and all the potential that is there for everybody to gain and to obtain. Clearly, the EU Green Deal will open new opportunities in the blue economy. We all see new regulations, policy actions that are being introduced in terms of EU priorities on climate change, circular economy, innovation, competitiveness, sustainable development goals. So our understanding is that blue economy industries will be impacted by these actions. And to take advantage of this, I would say, unique context, companies need to obtain innovative solutions and new processes to support and to act in this digital, sustainable and circular economy. So we are talking about solutions like smart shipping, automation. We are talking about digitalization and analytics for connecting and optimizing port operations. We're talking about using big data and artificial intelligence for maritime and for ports. We are actually talking about simple things like 3D printing for shipping and port production and maintenance. And I will give you further on some examples touching all these solutions that are not science fiction, that are really out there, and we see already big companies and big organizations using these new digital technologies and opportunities. So the objective of this part of the presentation is actually to give you guys a digital teaser to the opportunities that you may take advantage in the blue economy. So let's start. We will go throughout all the sectors of the blue economy. Let's start with the shipbuilding and ship maintenance. And here we definitely see transformative technologies being used more and more in this subsector. We see a huge potential for augmented reality and virtual reality applications, not only in terms of training people, but also in terms of maintenance. We see, for instance, the potential of applying augmented reality in maritime training definitely could reduce the time spent in classroom sessions. People need to be trained in context. If they can be trained in their places where they work, definitely it has a major impact. And using augmented reality is a very good way of being putting higher the quality of the training and getting people more in context training. For instance, if you look also for maintenance, Columbia University report on vehicle maintenance showed that 47% faster in locating and repairing defects using augmented reality technology. So definitely, all the technicians use technical manuals in paper, etc. Using this with HoloLens glasses and augmented reality capabilities is definitely a much better way of planning interventions, doing interventions, getting specialized help when intervening. Clearly, maintenance is a huge topic for usage of augmented reality, and also 3D printing. We are seeing more and more 3D printing for testing new models, quick creation of new solutions, and with this, we no longer need to wait months or days to get a new piece, a new machine, or a new part of the equipment. We can be using 3D printing for maintenance and repairs in a more efficient and economic sourcing of parts. So huge potential for shipbuilding and for ship maintenance. I give you guys now a use case example. If you look at Cognitive Spark and Royal Canadian Navy, Cognitive Spark is working with the Royal Canadian Navy in the opportunity to test in what they call the MIRAS, the Mixed Reality Remote Assistance Support System, clearly touching the part of maintenance and repairs aboard active naval vessels. So this technology uses a software based on HoloLens, like it's in the picture, that provides storage data to technicians to assist in either in routine tasks, or when an expert is not available, it can be seeing the same thing that the technician is seeing and can help the technician doing the proper intervention. So clearly this is a way to fix a problem from anywhere in the world, and has a huge impact in terms of the Royal Canadian Navy. If you go now to the maritime transport, ports and logistics, this is a huge space for innovation, for digital transformation, for sure. Most of you may work on this field, and here we see big data analytics. So all the investments that are being done and will be done in getting more touch points, more databases on real-time information will put together big data analytics, huge potential. And also, if we are talking about smart ports and terminal automation, we need to make sure that in all these sensors, in all this industrial IoT, in all these automations, we need to have cybersecurity addressed in order to improve efficiency for sure, but also accuracy and safety in terms of the ports. So we see in terms of maritime transportation and the logistics associated with it, lots of uses in terms of sensors, in terms of Internet of Things devices that will manage to give more information that will support better and informed decisions. And also, coupled with this, we see process optimization solutions. We see shipping, transport, and port logistics very concerned about streamlining processes, about making it simpler, making it faster, so and less with less human intervention. So we see lots of robotization, we see automation throughout the moment that the vessel reached the port and all the logistics accumulated with the port. We see autonomous drones to actually support the transport, inspection, and monitor port conditions, which can further reduce costs associated with parking times. It can optimize the efficiency of each in the ports, and it gives real-time or almost real-time information about what is happening. And we don't need dozens of people to be controlling. We can have autonomous drones, good cameras, and getting the sensors with the all the information. So here, clearly, a huge opportunity in terms of using digital technologies and transform the way this business was done. And of course, this is inevitable to talk about the port of Rotterdam. Definitely, they have invested a lot in the last years and is now one of the world's most automated terminals. They had supposedly they were reaching the full capacity, and then they automated a lot, invested in a vast expansion of the container business, and are recognizably one of the most advanced ports in the world. They are using artificial intelligence and robotics, which has increased the port's efficiency. So clearly, a good example for the companies that work in the ports business or connected with the ports business. Moving further in the blue economy, probably it's also good to touch the fishing, aquaculture, and fisheries. So here what we see is also a very huge potential around big data. So we definitely, if you have more capabilities of monitoring the entire fishing value chain from time and orange to capture the supermarket itself, we all this value chain can be monitored, can be dealt with, can be managed, and can be supported in terms of more information, more capacity to intervene and to make shifts along the way. And for instance, there's a huge potential for applying blockchain technologies in this space. We already see this in terms of some companies using blockchain applications for transparency, traceability, open platforms delivering neutrality, reliability, and security in this space. People want to know want to know more about the fish that they are buying, about the fish that they are eating. They want to know where was it fed, in which ocean, which company took care of it, and after being collected, how did it reach the supermarket or the restaurant. So all this value chain can be monitoring through blockchain applications for sure. And if we also look at drones, but in this time, underwater drones, we see the capability that technology puts now in place, where we can match GPS, sonar, and digital sensors, and we actually can provide real-time information about the species, about their health, the water quality, what kind of nutrients, salinity levels, whatever you need to grow fish in a convenient, good way. And all this information can be available through underwater drones monitoring. So clearly the new technology demands in this area are huge, and they will provide also, it is our understanding, huge opportunities to invest, to develop new products and solutions that need to be reliable and trustworthy in terms of data and monitoring aquaculture, fishing, and deep sea restoration, for sure. Also here, I give you the bumblebee foods example. It's exactly one of those examples to incorporate blockchain in their own supply chain. They use a QR code in their tuna can labels, which consumers can see the entire tuna journey. So definitely, I invite you guys to see this blockchain technology application, but it allows companies to store data and share with retailers, restaurants, consumers, allowing people to give the comfort and information about what they are eating. Another big topic in the blue economy is the naval and maritime authorities. Most startups can relate to the naval and maritime authorities, and here we're talking about defense, security, meteorology, and other functions. So, which are the main topics here? I would say machine learning. Definitely, if we have a permanent monitoring of the climate, if we, a permanent monitoring of the meteorology, a permanent monitoring of the movements that are done, we can reduce human error and improve efficiency. We can increase security and safety. We can predict, and this is not like 10 or 20 years ago, we would do a very sophisticated model for many months to predict what will be the next natural disaster. We have the ability and the huge amount of information to predict natural disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis, undersea volcanoes, because we just keep monitoring every day, every hour, every minute, every second, all this information. So more information gives better prediction capabilities. For sure, when we are talking about authorities, we need to raise the cybersecurity topic. It has transversal applications in this sector, and we also need to highlight the remote controlled and autonomous vessels, which it's not only about autonomous cars. We normally talk about autonomous cars, but definitely the autonomous vessels are already being tested. They are already being developed from major competitors, and we see huge potential of using sensors, of using augmented reality, of using automated drones, of using artificial intelligence and machine learning and all this. Here, the use case that probably is a good example to highlight is the US Navy. This is a public case where the US is using augmented reality and virtual reality in recruitment, training, and operations. So definitely, people are using in-context technology. So they are using kind of a fleet integrated synthetic training, as it's called, which combines reusable software and gaming technology. So People are being trained for every part of their future job, in every function of the future job, but in a more inexpensive and portable way for ships to train. Using a simulator that gives the perception of live action exercises, virtual enemy combats, and gamification is clearly proven to be a very good way to involve people and train them in this kind of different environments. Another industry, I would say entertainment, sports, tourism, and culture. Big topic, but clearly here, I would highlight the capacity to think about maritime tourism and water sports. Definitely, we should think more and more about providing solutions and products where people can experiment if they want to do some sort of activity in water sports before doing it, and selling the dream, selling the experience using augmented and virtual reality. This is definitely a trend in this sector. We are also seeing the usage of IoT in big ship cruises, also to in terms of the actual ship to have remote technical diagnosis that provide real-time information on vessel failure, but also to understand that if you are aboard the ship and you are reaching the next port, you may think about what things you will do the next day or the next morning when you reach the port, and then you should have immersive virtual reality and augmented reality experiences, and not just a video in the TV or a newspaper or a paper to say what you can do in the next port. So all about thinking in terms of experiences, in terms of options that we need to give the people that are traveling more and more. It's fantastic. And if you look also for culture, if people want to culture tourism in terms of visiting churches or museums or whatever, we definitely have an ecosystem to explore, because all this can be put in an augmented reality application before reaching the port and the new destination, and clearly people would take advantage of that. So this is huge opportunity. It means huge opportunity for tourism, for tour operators, for cruising ships companies, and for all the ecosystems that they work with. And finally, in this topic, big data analytics is a major issue here. Definitely very useful to gain insights on customer behavior, because if you put sensors throughout the ships, you understand the patterns, the trends, you understand who is going where, when. You can make at all times heat maps in terms of ship allocation, ship presence. You can have happy hours just to push the people from one part of the ship to another. Um, you can have price points in terms of supporting decision making, in terms of service. You can have monitoring the quality of the service that you are presenting. So all this is very important for the tourism industry, also related with sports and culture. Here, well, there's the use case around MSC, but it could be Royal Caribbean. It doesn't matter. We can see definitely that from the moment people are thinking about traveling, they give all 360 degrees view on the ship. They allow clients to make smart check-in, which eliminates waiting time to uploading all the required travel documentation, pre-registration, food preferences, preferred activities. So before reaching the ship, they actually know all about ourselves and what we want to do. And if we enrich that with the augmented reality that we're talking about, definitely this is a huge opportunity. And also, even for people that consider that they want to use their purse or their wallet, they provide wearable credit cards, interactive bracelets. So all this IoT space is definitely a big issue in this sector. Final topics around biotechnology. Here we see definitely a huge space for machine learning and artificial intelligence applications. All that means taking care of genetic analysis, improving accuracy and speed in diagnosis will definitely speed up the biotechnology space in the future. And the example here is Aker Biomarine, which has signed an agreement to digitalize, together with Cognite, all the harvesting and manufacturing operations. So this actually allows the company to use live and historical data to improve sustainability in their operations. So definitely all this niche micro management in terms of monitoring, using data and artificial intelligence to increase efficiency by reducing fuel consumption is a huge topic in their operations, and an advantage of all these new technologies. And finally, the energy production and distribution. If we think about this is a more immediate and obvious topic, but 3D printing technology to produce parts, well, again, in terms of maintenance and are much less expensive and solve the difficulties in sourcing those parts. Big data, Internet of Things, to identify the most energy efficient routes, monitor fuel consumption and reduce costs. Definitely, the energy production and distribution will use digital technologies in the customer interface, but also in the backstage operations level. Monitor better, act when things happen and not after a problem or after losing efficiency for many days and reducing thus costs. Here the example is RCM Technologies that they use 3D printing to manufacture turbines. They have started with land-based turbines, and now it's sites to building massive offshore wind turbines. Less money and less time. So clearly reducing capital costs, decreasing production time, and giving companies also the opportunity to invest in greener technologies. Mineral resources. It resembles some of the previous ones, but definitely it's about robotics, automation powered by artificial intelligence, which in this case should and will be applied to drilling, blasting, loading, and our sample. Internet of Things in terms of sensorization to improve safety and productivities. And definitely in this space, we are and companies are looking for solutions to increase environmental sustainability within this industry. And my final example is around Fraunhofer and the Argonauts, which as a team that has developed a fully automated system. I believe the graphic is very clear on the left, that produces mapping and high quality images of living organisms. So if we imagine this to all the mining industry and the solution clearly aims to increase the sustainability, in this case of deep sea mining industry, which is an excused example that we can share. Like I said, this was very challenging for myself. I am passionate on these topics. For sure, for every example that I gave you, I would have lots of other topics to address, but I believe I've tried to make a comprehensive and detailed digital potential approach. Hopefully you have taken some key topics and further questions to your own competitiveness and growth challenges. And I'm available for either sending me some emails and which we can respond, or perhaps organizing a session later on to give you guys some insights on specific questions. Thank you all for listening. I hope I've been clear and interesting, and talk soon. Bye-bye.